Hello you beautiful human, and welcome back to my channel. We are in video number 3 of Let's Talk Relationships, and what I want to know is, are y'all liking this relationship vibe? If you are, drop a comment below and tell me what else you want to see, because I'm considering taking this series outside of the month of February and digging in deeper in terms of relationships with people that I love. Bringing friends onto my channel, bringing my husband onto my channel, bringing my siblings onto my channel, just really diving into relationships from different perspectives. So if you're liking this series and you want to see it continue past February, let me know. And so we are in today's video talking about 6 more tips to cultivate happy, healthy, whole, fruitful, and successful relationships. So let's hop right into it with tip number 1. You have to be willing to try. Within a relationship, you have got to be willing to show up to the fight, because we are so used to relationships being convenient. Throughout grade school and throughout college, your core friends, your core people were no more than 5-6 miles away. You went to school with them, you had class with them, you shared a dorm room with them, or you shared a dorm building with them. You were able to hop right across the street and be at their apartment. We are not used to working for relationships, especially shifting out of that college mindset. It is like, oh my God, I have to work for this. I have to work to be in this relationship. And the answer is yes. I think there are 3 reasons why people do not work for relationships. Number 1, trauma, which we will get into how to respond to trauma in a healthy manner when you enter new relationships next week. But trauma, people don't want to go through the bad things that they went through before with other people. You get to a point where you're like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sick of showing up to this fight and I don't want to do it. We've already kind of touched on some ways to deal with trauma within our relationships and how to build fresh new relationships not on the foundation of trauma a little bit. So some of those tips from previous videos may translate over into that specific video. But that's number 1. People don't want to fight or show up for relationships because of trauma. Number 2 is because we assume that these friendships and relationships that we see on social media, these people are just meant to be. I guarantee if you ask those 2 people what makes their relationship so strong, I think 2 things will be on the forefront: communication and the other person's willingness to apply the communicated needs to the relationship effective immediately. What you will understand is that those relationships are not built on fly-by-night, happy-go-lucky, high endorphin moments. Those relationships are built on communication and implementation. I think the 3rd reason people are unwilling to try in relationships is because it is so easy to engage here on these platforms. It is so easy to get on social media and let that be where you draw your focus. We are no longer getting out and about and socializing with people in real life. We, as the old folks say, be on that phone. We are engaged in our games, our PlayStations and our Xboxes and our TVs and electronic devices so much that when it comes time to engage socially, we are struggling with how to carry on a conversation. But number 1 for this week's video is you have to be willing to show up. Show up and build the relationship. You do that. You have to be willing to do the work. No matter what the reason is that you're avoiding the work, if you want better relationships, you have to be willing to show up and do the work. So that's number 1. Number 2 is learn how to make deposits into your relationship accounts. And we're talking about those accounts are savings accounts. The reason they're savings accounts is because when you make that withdrawal, number 1, that means it's a serious withdrawal that you're having to make. And number 2, that means you should have enough in there that when you withdraw, you're not back at 0. So this is what I mean. I saw a video last year that talked about how she puts her friends' important dates on her calendars as well. So things like promotions, interviews, traveling moments, whatever is going on in their life that they express maybe through the group message or through text, she will put it on her calendar. She will set a reminder on her calendar for 2 days before. The reason she does that is because she wants to be intentional with either sending them a small gift, remembering to text them and wish them well, remembering to send maybe a small care package, whatever the case may be, because she wants to make a deposit into that account. And I thought that was such a great idea. I've tried to implement it in my personal life here and there. Sometimes I forget, but like she said, the minute she sees the text message of, this is what I've got going on, she puts it in her calendar so that she can remember to show up for them. And that is a deposit into the account. It is a simple way to show people that you care and you are invested in their lives. Now, here is why it's important for this account to be a savings account. Because 9 times out of 10, okay, if you're using your savings account properly, you're only going into your savings account to withdraw an amount that's not going to put you at zero, and you're withdrawing for an important reason. A withdrawal from your relationship account is going to be like, maybe your life is shifting and changing. Maybe you just got married and you're really honed in on what does that look like. Maybe you just had a baby and you're not hanging out with the girls as often, or you're having moments where you're struggling to text back or answer phone calls. If you have enough deposited into that account, when those moments come, it will not sever or break the bank. It will not sever the relationship. It will not cause people to look at you funny, because what they know is this person cares and loves me deeply. And this is a moment that they are withdrawing from our relationship account, but it's also a moment that I need to be depositing into that account. Okay, a prime example, I'm going to use my bestie Grace. Recently, when the new year started, she was swamped with stuff, and I had not seen her. We had not been sending our regular audio messages that we send every day. And she just kind of said eventually that January came around and slapped her in the face, so she's been really off her schedule. And so instead of taking it offensively, instead of being like, my friend doesn't love me, she doesn't call me, she doesn't check on me, I don't even know what happened to her, I made a commitment to myself that every day, whether she responded or not, I was going to send her an audio message, wish her a good day, check in on her, fill her in on things that were happening in my life, and just continue to deposit into the relationship, because I could tell that it was a space that she did not have the capacity to feel. And so that was my turn to jump in. And it doesn't mean that we do that all the time, because Grace is not constantly making withdrawals out of our friendship account. But in that moment she was, and that was my opportunity to step in, right? When I've gotten busy and life has been crazy, Grace will be like, friend, I'm just checking on you. One time she sent me a card in the mail. We live 45 minutes away from each other, and she sent me a card in the mail that is up on my bulletin board that just made my heart smile, because she wanted to be a little bit more intentional, because I was a little distant and dealing with some personal things, and she wanted to be intentional to let me know that she sees me and she loves me and she values me. That was a deposit made into our friendship account at a time where I was making a withdrawal. So you have to know. Learn what ways you can deposit into your relationships. I'm doing that right now with my husband. He is busy working. He will work his 9 to 5, and then he will leave and work a 5 to 9. And I am trying to make deposits into our marriage by saying, I'm going to iron his clothes. I want to make sure the house is clean. I'm going to meet him for lunch and give him a nice smile and a hug and let him know I'm rooting for him. I'm going to keep the house clean. I'm going to do the laundry. I'm going to make deposits into our marriage. Not because I want to be like, I'm doing this for you, do you see me doing this for you? But because I know that relationships, take work. Back to number 1. And you have to do what? Be willing to show up for them and do the work. And sometimes that means that you are making deposits during moments that someone else is making withdrawals. And sometimes that means you're both making deposits. And other times that means you're both making withdrawals. But if you have enough in the savings account that it does not deplete the account to zero, you'll be okay. You'll be all right. The relationship will survive, and you will come back around and start depositing more back into those accounts with time. So that is number 2. Learn to make deposits into your relationship account. Number 3 has some sub bullet points, so stay with me. Number 3 is identify what is your checklist for your core people. Someone asked in the first video, how do I identify my core people? Is there a checklist that they must fall under, or something that you look for? And so I really began to think about that, and the answer is yes. I thought about these 4 things, and all of my core people check these boxes. The first thing on my list for my core people are Did I show up honestly in the building block stages of that relationship? If I did, I already know you're my core people, because that means we're kindred spirits. If I can show up authentically myself consistently with you, oh, that's the beginning of us being locked in. And I show up authentically in all aspects of my life pretty much. However, I can gauge whether or not you are picking up what I'm putting down, or if you're kind of standoffish. You can feel how someone is feeling in the moment about you, or you can feel throughout constant interactions and gauge what you're picking up on. But if I show up as myself every single time and we are vibing every single time, that's the beginning of a core relationship in Angie's life. Number 2 in finding your core people, right? And this might not be your checklist, but it's definitely mine. Number 2 in finding my core people is that we are persistent in the pursuit of deeper conversation. We might not always be having these deep, philosophical, revolutionary conversations, but we are having them. And I think this is such an important factor when you are determining what are those staple relationships in your life, because I have heard many people bring up really core foundational issues 2-3 years into the relationship. You're upset because you just found out during election season through social media that your best friend has this view about immigrants that you don't have. Well, why y'all weren't talking about it? Why the hell y'all didn't know how each other feels about political issues? And I'm not saying that that's something you talk about on day 2 of getting to know somebody, but somewhere within the first 6 months, you should be determining what kind of character, moral values that person has, and do they align with yours? Why are we waiting until election season to find that out? And it doesn't mean, I use election season, but before anybody gets their panties in a wad, it doesn't mean that just because you have differing views doesn't mean you can't be friends with people. I have people that I consider good people and good friends that we have different views on things. Will I consider them my core people? No, I don't. No, I don't. Do I like you? Yes. Could I have dinner with you? Yes. Could we go engage in certain activities together? Absolutely. Could I call you friend? Hands down, I absolutely would say yes. Do I call you my core people? No, because we don't see things the same. If I had to look at somebody and consider you my core person, but you don't understand the issues surrounding race relations, if you don't understand why my anxiety gets high when my black husband, when my black brother is out at night driving and I don't hear from them, if you can't understand how I feel as a black woman in a predominantly white space, if you can't identify or even just have empathy or even acknowledgement for what I'm feeling, you're not my core people. How can you be? You can be a friend, and I will be like, when those hard issues come up, I will know what to engage in and what not to, because I want to raise my blood pressure, but you are not my core people. All of my core people, we have those same core intuitions, those same core foundational ideals and perspectives. And although we might challenge each other to broaden our view or to widen our lens or to zoom in sometimes, who we are and what we believe in as individuals is similar. And so I think that is so important that you have those deeper, harder conversations early, so that you're not shocked and not wait until election season to see that you know they feel a certain way that they feel. I'm not even going to say certain things because I don't want nobody's panties to get in attention. I don't want nobody's wedgies attitudes to be high or spirits to flare. But I'm just saying, don't wait until big moments in society for you to have deep-rooted conversations individually with the people you're surrounding yourself with. Number 3 in finding your core people is all of my core people are willing to tell me the truth. Whether I like it or not, they're going to say it with love. They're going to say it with understanding that I have feelings and emotions and that I'm a person. But they're going to tell me the truth. They're going to tell me, Angie, that doesn't work. Or Angie, that does work. That's a great idea. Push forward. Do more. Lean into that. A prime example is, I'm chuckling because I will never forget this day. Jared and I both have a mutual friend. His name is Isaiah, and he is, if you know Isaiah, he is honest. And the honesty will roll right off his tongue, but it will not stop the flow of the conversation. You're going to catch what he said, and you're going to know that he said and meant what he said, But you're going to be like, wow, the conversation just seemed to continue so seamlessly that I didn't even have an opportunity to acknowledge my ouch moment. He just kept saying what he said. Right before Jared and I got engaged, I went to Isaiah's house because he invited me over, and we were having drinks, and I was just, of course, fussing and complaining about something Jared did. I don't even know what happened or what he was doing. And I was complaining about Jared being a leader and wanting him to show up and wanting him to be a man and take ownership and leadership of our household. And Isaiah looked at me plain in my eye with his drink in his hand and said, when do you ever shut up enough for him to do that? And then he just continued on with what he was saying. But I in my spirit, I said, oh, Jesus. I said, wow, that was loud. That was loud. But I received that. And since then, I have found various ways to open up the space for Jared to be a leader and change my behavior and my demeanor towards him so that he can show up in a way that meets the needs that I want him to meet, but gives him the freedom to show up in that manner. Anyway, I have friends that are honest with me. Isaiah pretty much told me, you talk too much, shut the hell up and let the man be a man. And he was right. He wasn't lying. I'm working on shutting up more sometimes, most days, occasionally. I try my best. It's a work. God is still doing things. But I'm trying. I'm giving it the best I've got every day. But I have friends who are honest. I have friends who will say, that doesn't work, that does work. Fix that, change that, keep that. They're honest with me. Number 4 in finding your core people, or my checklist for my core people, is do they motivate me? If I bring up an idea to them or I have something I want to do, are they going, oh, Angeline, here's Angie with another idea. Girl, just sit down somewhere. Girl, just, do you, like, they're never, now there are moments where they will tell me to rest, but it's always like, you need rest. But they're always motivating me to do better. Always. If there's something that, like, I can so see you doing that, or like, this works, change this should be your direction, what do you think about that? They are motivating me to do better. Also, that motivation might be silent sometimes. It may be just in the way they carry themselves or in the way that they pursue things that they're passionate about. And so I have people that motivate me within my core circle to strive for more and better all the time. And if your core people, or if people you're considering your core people, don't motivate you, I ask you to consider these 2 things. Do they not motivate you to do better because they are scared of the potential you have and they don't want you to do better than them? Or are they willing to just twiddle their thumbs the rest of their life and rub their feet together and be subpar, mediocre people? Both of those things do not sound like people I want around me. Whether you don't want me to succeed because you're worried I will out-succeed you and you have that jealousy, friendship mentality, or if it's because you are content with being mediocre in this life, I don't want that around me either. So neither one of them sound like a win. One just is not rooted in jealousy. So I challenge you to wonder why your people don't motivate you. Because they should. There should be something that they are doing that makes you say, I want to do more too. So that is how I identify my core people. You might need to make a list on how you identify your core people. What things do you need out of your core people for them to be considered your core people? Moving on to number 3. High value and good soil people are a must at our big grown age. When I say high value, I'm not talking about materialistic things. When I say high value, I am referencing who they are as people. High value people, morals, integrity, drive, high value. When you think of those character traits that say, those are the kind of people we need to be drawn to. If they don't have that and that little shine behind them, we're not doing dull people. We are doing vibrant, high value people. Okay? And they need to have good soil. I'm not talking about perfection. I'm talking about good soil. Are your Are your roots planted in good soil? Do they have good intentions? Is their heart posture pure? Are they working and striving towards something? Those are the kind of people that we want to be interacting with on a consistent, steady basis when we're talking about building happy, healthy, whole relationships. Good soil and high value. Good soil and high value. Good soil and high value. You determine what those two character traits look like for you. What does good soil mean to you? What does high value mean to you? And if they don't check that, the question is, then what is the benefit of the relationship? Number 5 for this week's relationship tip is stop over-humanizing people at the detriment of your mental health. Stop. Quit it. Let it go. Don't do it anymore. I have humanized people's behavior over and over and over again personally in my own life at the detriment of my own self-respect, at the detriment of my own self-esteem, at the detriment of my own boundaries. I have been like, oh, they don't mean it, or they're working through things. Shit, I'm working through things too. And I still have yet to cross the line that you did. So, what's that mean for you, buddy old pal? Stop humanizing people's behavior so much so that you allow yourself to be disrespected. And it does not mean, we hear those things sometimes and it does put us in a place of, I don't have to accept this. You don't have to accept it. You shouldn't accept it. But I also don't want you to dehumanize them. There is a fine balance between humanizing someone's behavior, recognizing that we're all working through things, becoming better people, dealing with our uglies, talking about our insecurities. We're all just humans trying to figure out this thing, experiencing life for the first time together. However, when you shift that perspective and say, so am I, so where is my level of self-respect, and how are you honoring me in our growth stages together? We need to be considering each other here. And if I keep humanizing you so much so that I'm not considering myself, the relationship is already at a disadvantage. It's already in the negatives. Our savings account is depleted. There's nothing in there. Our checking account is now at 0. It's all bad. Stop humanizing people at the detriment of your own mental health. That doesn't mean you have to dehumanize them, disrespect them, disregard them, be ugly. It just means you need to put those walls up. You need to put those walls up, and those red light boundaries need to turn into, I don't even know what other analogy to use, railroad stoppers. I don't even know if that's what they're called. But you know, when the things come down in front of your car and the train can go on through, you need to be the train. You need to keep passing them by. Let those people fall behind those stoppers and you keep chugging forward, because it's serving you no purpose to keep humanizing their behavior when it is killing you on the inside. Stop it. Stop. You are worth so much more than that. I'm looking at you. Yes, you on the other side of this camera, you are so much more worthy in this lifetime than what you are allowing. Put those, I'm going to call them railroad stoppers. Put those blockers up. You'll be like a choo-choo train, and you make 0 to 110 down that railroad track, and let them stop right here. Let them stop. And as you pass on by, when those things come back up, when those boundaries and those moments wash away from you, don't re-put them back in your life. You let those cars keep going this way, and you keep going this way. Don't turn around and pick up no lollygaggers. Don't do it, because you're worth more. Okay? I mean it. You are worth more. The last and final tip for tonight, okay? And it's not an outward one. We just talked about outward. We just talked about external. We just talked about people. This one is an us thing. Know when you're the problem. Know when it's you. Ooh! Okay? Know when it's you. Know when you are the problem and seek help. Be able to say, it's me, I'm the problem. I am causing this chaos and confusion in my life. I am allowing certain behaviors in my life because I struggle with abandonment, fear, whatever the case may be. Know when it's you. And when it is you, be in hot and heavy pursuit of changing that thing around. We are too old to continue to be raggedy. We're too old. And I consider too old past 21. Anyone watching this video past 21 years of age, you are too old. You are too old to be raggedy. Those behaviors and actions and ideas and ways of thinking that are ruining relationships within your life, it is time for you to fix them. That trauma that happened to you 7 years ago happened 7 years ago. I am not belittling or diminishing your experience. I am saying that it is your responsibility to figure out how to move forward, or else you will continue to stay stuck in those traumatic moments. And then what does that serve you? What does it serve you? Really think about it. What does it serve you to continue to live with unhealed trauma? What does it serve you to carry all that baggage from those traumatic experiences? It does nothing. Trauma, relationship baggage, relationship hurt and pain is never something that people want in their life. I don't think any of us wake up in the morning and raise our hand and say, I want to be hurt by mankind today. But it is things that happen just because we live in this thing called life. It is, however, your responsibility to take a hold of that trauma and say, I will not engage in this anymore. I will not allow this anymore. I will not allow this thing to drag me down, to ruin my relationships. I will not allow this thing to taint me, to make me bitter, to make me jaded, to make me angry with the world forever. There is a time period for that. But at some point you've got to make like the train and chug forward and figure it out and deal with the stuff. Sorry y'all, my memory card was full yet again. And cry and scream and throw things and have those big outlandish moments with yourself or with people and deal with your shit. You have to be willing to say, it's me. I am the reason I'm not having a good time with this thing called life. It's me. I am carrying so much weight and I refuse to let it go. But you can always make a choice. You can always make a choice to say, now is my time. I'm going to shed those extra pounds. I'm going to shed that extra baggage. Because also, let me say this, the person that hurt you, the person that did the damage, baby, they not even thinking about you. They have cruised on down to the next person and the next person and the next person. They're on their healing journey. You're angry at them for looking happy on social media, skipping along this thing called life. You're angry with them because they look healed, happy, healthy, and whole, and unaware of the fact that they caused you hurt and pain. And I'm going to tell you this with all honesty and love. As much as they hurt you, it is not their responsibility to come back and heal you. You have to pick up the mantle and do the healing. You've got to find your core people and say, in this healing process, I need your help. I don't have the person around that hurt me, which is probably a good thing. But I am broken and I'm in need of some healing properties. I'm in need of some putting back together. And as I do that, I need y'all. But you've got to do the work. Walking around broken and ugly is not a badge of honor. Walking around broken and hurt is not a badge of honor. Stop posting those sad quotes on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Facebook. Stop resharing those little sad videos. No one is going to come save you unless you get up and come save yourself. It's got to start with you. There are people who will be along to push you, to support you, but no one's coming to do it if you don't get yourself up out the gutter first. You gotta, if you were in a ditch, you've got to reach up in order for people to pull you out. I'm gonna say that again. If you were in a ditch, you've got to reach up in order for people to pull you out. Some of us haven't even reached up to get out of our trauma ditch. If you want to get out and you want support in people, you've got to reach up and grab it, which means it starts with you always. So number 6 is be willing to say, it's me, and it's time for me to do the work so that I can have happy, whole, exciting relationships in my life. But if you don't reach up, you'll never get out. You will stay stuck in that trauma pit. Okay? And I don't want that for you. You're too cute with your cute self to be stuck down there in trauma land. Get out. Get out. Thank you. That is it for today's video, you guys. I hope you gained something from it. Drop a comment below on your favorite tip. If you agree, if you would like to see more, always like, comment, and subscribe. Send to a friend, share with a person. And I hope y'all are being beautiful. Let me tell y'all something. I'm going to close this computer so I can tell y'all something. This is your reminder for this video. It's Black History Month. Hey, this is what else I want you to know. It doesn't matter how much you try to flip, flop, or fold Black history. It is American history. It's Black History Month. Okay? And as beautiful as that is, I want y'all to understand that Black History Month is every month. So although I do greatly appreciate the fact that we have a month in the year to celebrate our culture and our history, listen to me when I say, every month is Black History Month. Because America was built by Black folks. So, every month, I celebrate my Blackness. Every month, I am blackity, blackity, black, 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 y'all. Thank you for having a designated month. I want Black folks and white folks and all the folks in between, okay, to recognize that every month is Black History Month. Because we are the history that built this country. We are the people that built it. Sadly, we are the people that built it, but also the people that are most oppressed by its systemic structures. But that's a conversation for another day. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on all social media platforms at with Angie K. If you are Black, baby, be black as you can be. If you're not Black, tell somebody that is Black how beautiful and how much you appreciate them today. Okay? That's your homework. I'm going to hold you to it, and I expect you to do nothing less than what I just asked. And if you're around here causing strife for people that look like me, be mindful. I love you big. Toodles.